Good day, family. Hey, Casanova here. And first, I want to say, wherever you are, you're watching, you're listening to this, I hope that this message finds you healthy, happy, and of course, safe and well.
What's up, dream builder? Are you someone who's interested in creating a life by your design through all things real estate? Well, I can assure you, you are in the right place. Join me, your host, Casanova Brooks. I'm an award-winning real estate agent and investor as we uncover the top tips, strategies, and the mindset of the top real estate entrepreneurs across the world. Stay locked in because we're about to go on a journey that will change your life.
I wanted to share this message with you all because for a lot of people right now, I know they're going through the ringer. Adversity, I mean, you turn on social media, you turn on the TV, you turn on news. It doesn't matter what you're listening to or looking at. You don't have to turn very far, whatever medium that it is, to find some type of adversity, some type of barrier, some type of fear that's being put in us. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to share something that I think could help somebody out there. If you're currently going through the ringer, if you're currently going through adversity, if you're feeling like maybe there's no hope, there's not inspiration, you can't turn your life around in the next year, in the next 6 months, in the next 3 months. And this was big for me because a lot of people, they've asked me how have I continuously overcame the adversity that I've been through. And I would like to consider that my story is probably one that very many people would break from. But for me, when people ask me how have I been able to continuously overcome and persevere, I always say that it comes back to a story I once heard and something that a mentor told me. And so he told me the story and he said, you know, we all grow up surrounded by people. We have our family, our friends, and a lot of the times they're on the same day-to-day path as we are, right? So think about it in middle school, elementary school. A lot of the times if you're in that neighborhood, so let's take my story for example. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Whether you want to call it poverty or whatever it was, that was all we knew. That was all we saw. So we didn't really know that that was what we were considered to be growing up in, right? We didn't take family trips, but nobody in the neighborhood was taking family trips. So we thought that that was the norm, right? All my friends, it felt like they had the same journey, same path, same circumstances that I did. So when you look at it, and this could be at any level, right? Because the same thing could be said through middle school, right? When I first got to Sioux City, then when I got to high school, and even in college, a lot of us, we had the same opportunities. But why did some people take the right road and then some people took the left road, right? And when I think about, for me, how have I continuously taken the road that's led me to better for my family, that's led me to optimism, that's led me to continue to dream, to continue to try to inspire somebody else, to continue to build businesses. I think that the thing that it boils down to was the story and then these 3 questions. And so the story was, he had told me about there were two boys who was growing up in the same household. Dad was an abuser. Dad was an alcoholic. Dad was kind of a rolling stone. When he came into the life, he was into their mom's life and whatnot. He was putting his hands, he was verbally abusing, he was mentally abusing, all these things. So then the 2 boys, they went off to high school and one got deep into drugs. The other one went into sports very heavy, and then he wound up becoming a doctor. The other one got into drugs, and then he wound up eventually becoming a convicted felon. Later on, they both got interviewed. They basically asked, you know, like, why did you take this path and your brother took this path? And they were the exact same age. They were twins, I guess. I neglected to say this. And one boy used it as a crutch and an excuse, and he said, well, what do you expect? You know, my dad was an abuser. My dad did drugs. My dad was never around to really give me stability and discipline. And then they asked the other brother and he said, well, what did you expect? My dad was an abuser. My dad was never around, but I knew that that was not what I wanted my life to be like, right? So the same situation, same environment, the same circumstance, but they grew up with 2 different outcomes, 2 different results. And so for me, going back to that question, the question is, how was I able to always overcome? Well, what my mentor once told me is he said, well, here's what I want you to always ask yourself. These 3 questions can help you to audit your life at any time, and they can help you to change your trajectory at any time. Number 1 is, who am I allowing myself to be surrounded by? Because your environment's everything, right? No matter if you're in real estate, no matter if you're just, in customer service, no matter if you're insurance, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you look at it, your day-to-day, whoever you're spending the most time with, those will be the people who consume most of your energy, right? Is because we all, to an extent, we want to be socially acceptable. Regardless if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're liberal, if you're conservative, regardless if you are anti-vaccine, if you're pro-vaccine, it doesn't matter. We all want to be socially accepted in some way or another. So the people who you're around, those are the people who most likely have the same beliefs as you, and you're also most likely taking the same actions that they're taking. And it doesn't have to be physical, it could be mental. So you have to ask yourself, are those people where you want to be in 5 years? Do they have the same trajectory? Do they have the same North Star as you do of where you want to get to? Because we all might come from the same place, but we all don't have the same dreams, goals, right? And if they don't align with your values, your missions, on your principles and what you stand on, are you really going to get to a life that you'll be fulfilled and happy with? And if not, it's because you're allowing yourself to be surrounded by people who suck your energy. Right? Because you have to second guess every decision that you make. You have to second guess, do you really want to go to that party? Do you really want to go to that gathering? Do you really want to go to that networking event with these people? And if you have to question it at any point, if they're not building you up, then be honest with yourself and let yourself know they're tearing you down. Number 2, what are they teaching you? Right? Now, this goes deeper into that part of number 1. Like, are they teaching you that business is okay? Are they teaching you that ownership is okay? Are they teaching you, that, hey, you want to have dreams and goals, but you don't want to take actions behind it, right? And they're not saying that, but they're displaying that. So think about it. Are you taking actions of some sort? Now, again, don't play other people's race. Right? Run your own race. So they might be taking some actions that are different than your actions, but are they still encouraging you and challenging you and supporting you to take those actions? If they're not, you have to ask yourself, what are they teaching me? Right? Because we're all teaching someone something, right? The things that we do, we're teaching people how to treat us, and the things that we don't do, we're teaching people how to treat us. So ask yourself, what are they teaching me? What can I take away from this? How would this help me in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? But more importantly, how would this help me in the next 3 months? Because we know that we have to go through our day-to-day, every single day, to keep pushing, to keep fighting, to keep grinding, right? So that's number 2. What are they teaching us? And number 3, how does this make me feel? Right? Now, this is very important. And the reason why, and I would even say last, but definitely not least, because for me, we have always heard about affirmations. At least I knew I always heard about affirmations. But I didn't really know what did that mean as far as affirmations. Like, affirmations, is it just words? Like, how do we really start to, let's use the law of attraction, right? And we say what you think about is what you can achieve, right? What you conceive is what you can achieve. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, there's a whole nother level to this, right? And first you have to see it, then you have to seize it, but you also have to feel yourself having it. And feeling is that emotion that allows us to gain the motivation or even long-term the inspiration. So how are you feeling about what they're teaching you in the environment that you're around? Because here's what I can tell you. Discipline, yes, it is very important, because you're not always gonna feel like doing something. You're not always gonna feel like prospecting. You're not always gonna feel like getting up and going to that job, or, opening up those doors for that business, right? But you have to ask yourself, at the end of the day, is this pulling me towards something, or is it pulling me from something? Right? And if it's pulling you towards something, then that means that I would say that it's inspiration, because it's where you want to go. If it's pulling you from something, then you have to ask yourself, is that the feeling that you really want? Because is that fear, or is that it's a negative vibe that I just don't want to surround myself with, because I know that in the end, I'm not going to win from this, right? My family's not going to win from this. And so that's what I think has been very important for me at any stage in my life. I've always continued to ask myself those 3 questions. I've always continued to audit my life, because I know that at the end of the day, people don't care about what I say. They care about how it makes them feel, and they care about what actions I took to be able to help them. And so for you, ask yourself, are you in an environment that's continuously allowing you to grow? Are you in an environment that says, hey, you know what, just like a farmer, right? If there's a hailstorm that comes through and it wipes us all out, which is totally okay, that means that we have to be willing to rebuild. But do we got to rebuild alone? And is somebody else going to come and laugh at us? The people who are in our environment, who are in our circle, are they going to come and laugh at us? Or are they going to say, hey man, don't worry about it. You know, this happens to the best of us, right? But next springtime, we're going to be right back here planting again, and it's going to be all good, right? And we're going to get these back, and we're going to be better and brighter than ever, because now we have lessons, and that means that we have experience of ways that we can protect ourselves, protect our energy, protect our crops, right? So be thinking about that every single time you're in a situation or in an environment where you're going through some challenges or you're going through some adversity, and ask yourself those 3 questions. I think that they could really help you. So remember, in the dream we trust, but you gotta take action, because otherwise that dream that you had, it'll only merely be a fantasy without action. That's all for this one. We'll catch you on the next one.